Animal Disease Research Center. Sounds charming.
10 miles off the Connecticut shore lies an island that you are restricted from entering. It is home to the world's most feared diseases and contagious viruses.
The mission of the island is to protect the livestock industry in the United States.
Plum Island.
An exclusive report, Animal Exile, Monday at 11, only on Channel 3. This is Connecticut's news station.
A remote island just off the coast of Connecticut run by the federal government. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But it really is science fact. The government calls it the Plum Island Animal Disease Research Center, and you were not welcome there until today. Brendan Keefe has his Channel 3 Extra.
It is within sight of the Connecticut coastline, but few people have ever heard of it. A remote island owned by the federal government. It is home to the world's most feared animal diseases, sealed deep inside a high-security microbiology research center. It is Plum Island, North America's first line of defense against ecological and economic disaster.
$20 billion loss to the livestock industry for the next 10 years.
Plum Island is located 10 nautical miles south of Waterford. Every one of its 840 acres restricted, the public forbidden from its shores. In 1954, the United States Congress declared a quarantine on what was then Fort Terry, an Army artillery base, and turned it over to the USDA. Now it is the island of Dr. Torres.
When the government decided that there was a need to have a laboratory to work with these highly contagious and infectious agents in the United States, the technology to contain them, what we call biocontainment, was very primitive. So one of the added safety factors was to be on an island setting.
So every weekday morning, an elite team of scientists begins an unusual commute. They board an uncharted government ferry in Old Saybrook for the 40-minute trip to their island labs.
The mission of the island is to protect the livestock industry in the United States and the food supply.
Behind biohazard containment doors, the microbiologists genetically engineer viruses and vaccines and study infected animals. But outside the labs, the USDA allows very little wildlife to inhabit the brush. Any deer that swim over from Long Island are shot by government marksmen for fear the animals would otherwise carry viruses back to the mainland. Among the only welcome guests, a colony of seals. They spend the winter sunning themselves on rocks just offshore. These seals are Plum Island's only vacationers.
When you see the beauty of this island, it's hard to imagine that it was once an army base designed to wage and protect the nation against war. Towards the end of Fort Terry's existence, this building was being transformed into a biological warfare center. But until recently, the government has been using it to wage warfare against biological agents.
People know about the CDC, the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. We are the CDC of the animal world.
Only a select group of researchers is allowed inside the containment facility. But tomorrow, we're taking you beyond biosecurity to show you how scientists are keeping the world's most contagious animal viruses from invading the mainland. On Plum Island, Brendan Keefe, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And tonight on the Night Beat, Brendan takes us inside the labs of Plum Island for part 2 of Animal Isle.
No question about it, if the world's most contagious virus were to be unleashed on America's livestock, it could destroy the nation's food supply. Now, that virus is stored not far from here, just off the Connecticut coastline on Plum Island. Now, in the event of a major outbreak, an elite team of scientists there would be activated. Last night, here in an Eyewitness News Extra, Channel 3's Brendan Keefe took us to the island. Tonight, he takes us inside biosecurity.
The Plum Island Animal Disease Center, isolated, ultra-secure, and created out of raw fear. Fear that an exotic virus could decimate the nation's food supply.
Foot-and-mouth disease virus is the most infectious agent ever known to either humankind or animal kind.
4 decades ago, government scientists began studying the live virus here in Building 257 after the USDA took over Plum Island from the Army, which had more sinister plans for the lab.
They were interested in doing biological warfare.
In those days, Plum Island's sole purpose was to defend the United States coast from foreign invaders. The big guns that used to fend off German U-boats are gone. Now the big guns of the scientific community are here on Plum Island, defending the United States shores from microscopic foreign invaders.
And this is their battleground. Only government researchers are allowed in, and nothing is allowed out without a bath in acetic acid, including our camera. We have to seal it in a special airtight housing, so we bring back only pictures and not the virus.
Anytime we go into the containment facility, we have to strip completely naked, all jewelry, everything.
That's right, everything. Off with the street clothes in containment level 1, and after streaking into containment level 2, on with lab scrubs. There are 4 zones of biosecurity, each separated by an airlock. Deep inside level 4, the air pressure is equal to that of Denver. The low pressure sucks air in and keeps the virus from flowing out.
The wind can carry it to the neighbor island or to the shoreline of Connecticut.
If an outbreak ever happens, the FMD vaccine would be rushed to farms all over New England. Here, 14 million doses are ready, suspended in liquid nitrogen. Genetic engineers continually realign strands of DNA and RNA to create a safer vaccine. They test the weaker viruses on live cows kept inside the labs. Some of these Holsteins will come down with the disease, so researchers might safeguard thousands of cattle on the mainland. Dozens of pigs are also held in containment for the study of African swine fever. The pig virus is almost always fatal, but needs a tick to get from victim to victim. Lab work is often cut short by the blast of a fairy horn. Before all of us leave biosecurity, a rigorous decontamination shower and an acid dip for the camera. My notes will be burned to kill the virus. Dr. McKenna faxes copies to an office outside containment. Back on the boat, the scientists sometimes watch as the island fades into the darkness and the Connecticut coastline comes into view. With each second, the strange island becomes just a memory until they return to containment tomorrow. On Plum Island, Brendan Keefe, Channel 3, Eyewitness News, Night Beat.
Now, is Plum Island just an agricultural research center, or is the government engaged in other business there, something top secret? Tomorrow night, Brendan explores the rumors and conspiracy theories that surround the animal exile. Denise? Plum Island. What really goes on there? The federal government says it's just an animal disease research center. But are they hiding something behind all that biosecurity? Conspiracy theories abound. Tonight in an Eyewitness News Extra, Channel 3's Brendan Keefe explores the X in animal exile.
Stay away from Plum Island by order of the federal government. Warnings are posted on the beach and on nautical charts. Even the airspace above the island is off limits to civilian pilots. But why?
All of this containment is designed to keep dangerous animal viruses from spreading. But this security and the secrecy of the past has helped spread rumors. People off the island wondering what's on this island and behind these closed doors. And Hollywood hasn't done much to help.
Plum Island.
In the movie Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter is offered a vacation on Plum Island if he helps the FBI catch another serial killer.
Plum Island Animal Disease Research Center. Sounds charming.
Plum Island's beaches are quite charming, but in reality, serial killers aren't welcome here either.
There is nothing mysterious going in this island.
Dr. Alfonso Torres insists the island's present image is the result of its military past.
Because the island was closed to the press and the public for many, many years, so there was a cloud of secrecy for a while.
I didn't mention anything about what I knew was on the island.
Why not?
Well, they told us not to.
Former Hartford newspaper photographer Paul Schaefer was on a freelance shoot in 1955 when he and a model accidentally landed on Plum Island.
2 gentlemen came out, and they had Department of Agriculture uniforms on, but I noticed Thompson submachine guns on the back of the Jeep.
Schaefer was told by his brother, a flight surgeon in the military, that Plum Island was a biological warfare center. That rumor was true. The Army had converted Building 257 into a biological weapons lab a few years earlier, but the USDA insists that project left along with the Army base in 1954.
We have never been involved in biological warfare. We have never been involved in anything secret. Everything is open and for anybody to see it.
Sure, you hide it right out in the open.
What do you mean?
Well, if you want to hide something, you put it out where everybody can see it.
Some coastal residents report seeing UFOs hovering over Plum Island. The USDA says the flashing lights are nothing more than National Guard helicopters training above the island's helipad. What else have you heard about?
6-foot chickens.
Are you serious?
Very serious.
Most of the stories about Plum Island are indeed science fiction.
You know, they're fun to talk about, but it's important that people understand what we really do and so they can get behind us.
The truth is interesting enough. Plum Island scientists wage war against microscopic enemies. But as long as that work continues so far out of sight, people will wonder what's really going on Plum Island. Brendan Keefe, Channel 3, Eyewitness News, Nightbeat.
And believe it or not, you missed a chance to own Plum Island. See, the federal government tried to sell it after the Army base was closed back in 1952. They put it out for auction at $25,000, but then the highest bid was only $18,000.